Here to create something great? Well, this is the place to be. Here it is, another bead cube of course, and it's 3D. A simple three-dimensional shape, but yet still awesome creation. These bead cubes you'll want to make without hesitation. One of my favorite projects and full of so much inspiration. So get ready for this tutorial that will hopefully fulfill your creative needs. Be sure to give this video a like and enjoy this episode of TurboBeads. Here's a list of everything you need to make the 3D bead cube. The first thing you'll need is 2 feet of string. I'm using fishing line, which I think works best for me. Next, we'll take 8 beads and add them to the string of 2 different colors, alternating them in this pattern. As you can see, I've used orange and clear. When you have those beads on the string, you'll move those beads toward one end of the string and tie both ends of string together with a square knot. This will bring all the beads together in a semicircle or square. When tying the string, be sure to push the orange beads or your desired color toward the center to create this defined shape of a square. This is what it should look like. Just remember to be sure to tie your knot tight and secure to ensure everything stays locked in place. This is what it should look like. With the knot tied, we should have one short end of string and one long end of string to use. We'll take that long end of string and run it through the closest bead point, which is the clear for this project. You'll get that string through that bead and pull the string all the way through. This will set us up for the next steps in creating a larger square, which we will add beads to the string and build around the square of 8 beads. Using that same end of string, we're going to add 3 beads to the string. As you can see, I'm using white, which will create the first corner of the square. With those beads on the string, you're going to run that string to the next bead point, which is the clear bead here. When you get that string all the way through that bead and pull the string all the way through, the 3 beads will stack right into place, creating a corner just like this. As you can see, this is how it should look. With the string coming out of this clear bead point, we are set to create another point. Using that same end of string, we will once again add 3 white beads to the string. Now that we have those beads on that string, you'll run that string to the next bead point, which is the clear bead right here. When you get that string all the way through that bead and pull the string all the way through, the 3 beads will stack into place, creating another point of the square. With this corner created and the string coming out of this clear bead, let's continue building corners around the square panel by adding 3 beads to the string and running that string to the next bead point. When you get that string all the way through that bead, you'll pull the string all the way through and the 3 beads will stack into place, creating another point of the square. With the string coming out of this bead, we are ready to create the last corner of the square panel. By using the same steps as we've done before, remember, you'll add 3 beads to the string. When you have those beads on the string, you're going to run that string to the next bead point, which is the bead right here. When you get that string all the way through that bead, you'll pull the string all the way through and the 3 beads will stack right into place, creating the corner of the square panel. Be sure to pull the string tight to keep the beads locked in a solid formation. From this point, I would recommend reinforcing the square by running the string through all of the beads that create the outline of the square panel. You may also want to do this several times around until the square feels a bit more solid and firm, finding a stopping point near the short end of string here in the middle. After you've reinforced the square panel and your 2 ends of string are near each other, you'll want to tie both ends of string together tightly with a square knot to ensure that everything stays together. Also, feel free to tie the knot as many times as you feel is necessary. Remember, just be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure. Once your knot is all tied, the square panel should feel pretty solid. Now, we can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string and you completed a square panel. With this first square panel complete, we'll need to create 5 more of these, which will be a total of 6 square panels in order to make a 3D cube. As you can see here, I've made up 6 square panels of different colors to add a bit of style, which I think looks great. Leave a comment below letting me know what cool color combinations you come up with. With these 6 complete bead square panels, we are now ready to combine them all to create the 3D bead cube. Let's start with the first 2 squares, which will be tied together with string at each point here. Go ahead and grab 6 inches of string. Now, we will run that string through the points on each square. Once you have your string through both points, you'll tie the 2 ends of string together with a square knot, bringing the 2 panels together. Feel free to tie the knot as many times as you feel is necessary to keep everything locked and secure. With this visual reference, tying the knot should be pretty simple. Once your knot is tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With these 2 bead squares attached to this point, we will also tie and attach the bottom points as well to close the gap. We'll use 6 inches of string and run that string through each point of the square. When you get that string through those beads, you'll tie both ends of string together with the square knot, closing the gap in between these squares. Remember to be sure your knots are secure to ensure everything stays together. With the knots all tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and this is what it should look like so far. Now that we have these first 2 bead squares attached at both points, we're ready to attach another square panel on these. Let's go ahead and grab another bead square panel, which we will tie and attach on the end here. Using the same steps as we did before, using 6 inches of string, we're going to run that string through each point of the squares. Once you have the string through each point of the squares, you'll tie each end of string together with a square knot, attaching these bead squares. With the knot tied, we'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. Now that we have the third square attached at this point, we'll attach these 2 points at the bottom as well to close the gap. As we've done before, let's take 6 inches of string and run that string to the 2 points of the squares. When you have that string through those points, you'll tie the string together with a square knot and the beads will come together, closing the gap. Now with those knots tied, we'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and this is what it should look like so far. Now that we have the third square attached to both points, we're ready to add another square at the end of this chain of bead squares. Once again, we'll use the same steps we've done before by attaching the squares at each point of the square. Using 6 inches of string, you'll run that string through each point of these bead squares. When you have that string through those bead points, you'll tie both ends of string together with a square knot to attach the squares together. With the knots tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the fourth square attached at this point, we will attach and tie the 2 points at the bottom as well to close in the gap. Of course, using the same steps, using 6 inches of string, running that string through each point of the squares. With the string through those bead points, we'll tie both ends of string together with a square knot, which will close in the gap. Carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and now we have 4 square panels attached. It should look like this. From this point, we will attach and tie the 2 square panels on the ends together at the 2 connecting points. Like we've done before, using 6 inches of string, we're going to run that string to the point of each square. When you get that string through those beads, you're going to tie both ends of string together with a square knot, and the 2 squares will be attached. With those knots tied securely, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With these square panels attached, we'll also tie and attach the bottom half as well to close the gap. Once again, using 6 inches of string, we'll run that string to the point of each square. When you have that string through both points, you'll tie the string together with a square knot, and everything will come together, closing in the gap. Once again, when your knots are tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and this is what it should look like so far. Now that we have the first 4 square panels attached together, looking like this, it's time to attach the next square to the others using 6 inches of string. We'll tie and attach the 5th bead square on the top by running the string through the 3 bead points. As you can see here, again, here are the points of attachments I'm pointing out. So first, we will run the string through one point of the unattached square. Next, we're going to run each end of the string through the 2 attached points next to each other, with the string going through the top. Watch closely as I guide the string through these beads. Once you have the string through those bead points and pull both ends of the string, you'll see that the unattached bead square will fit right into place. Now we can tie the string together with a square knot to attach the square onto the others. With the knots all tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and you'll see that the string will hold the squares together through the 3 bead points. From this point, we will continue using string to attach each point of the square onto the rest of the cube. Remember, that's 3 different bead points all adjacent to each other. Watch closely as I guide the string through these 3 bead points. This visual reference should make attaching these points easier to see and understand. When you have the string through these 3 points and tie both ends of string together, this point will be attached. With the knots tied securely, we can now carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As I've said before, let's continue attaching each point of the square until all of the points are connected. Remember, we're using 6 inches of string and running that string through the 3 bead points that make up the corner of the cube. As you can see again, I'm showing you where to run the string through these 3 bead points. When you get that string through those beads, you'll tie both ends of string together with a square knot that's tied nice and secure. With the knot tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, leaving us with one more point to tie and attach for this square. Once again, I'm leaving this visual reference to show you where to run the string through. Be sure to watch closely. We're using 6 inches of string and running the string through the 3 points, getting the string through those points, and tying the string together with a square knot. Be sure to tie your knots nice and secure to ensure everything stays together. With the knots tied, we'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the 5th square completely attached and tied at each point, this is what it should look like. We are now ready to add the final square onto the others to complete the cube. Let's review the steps one more time of how to attach the 6th square with the others. Remember, we're using 6 inches of string and running the string to the unattached square, then running each end of string through these bead points going through the top. Watch closely so you can see where I run the string through each point. Hopefully this visual will make things clear and simple to understand. With the string through these 3 points, you'll tie the string together with a square knot and carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. From this point, all that is left is to finish tying and attaching the rest of the points of the square. As you can see from here, things should be pretty simple, as we've done this before, using 6 inches of string to attach the square at 3 points, tying the string with knots that are tied nice and tight, ensuring they are solid and secure to keep everything locked in place. With those knots tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and your 3D bead cube is now complete. And there you have it, another fine 3D bead design that was fun to make. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful and you can create one just as great. If you have anything you'd like to add, requests or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you're new, or you just haven't already, don't forget you can always subscribe if you want to be notified for more bead tutorials just like this one. Hoping you'll tune in for the next one to fulfill your creative needs. Until next time, thanks for watching TurboBeads.